writers, you're listening to the Kobo ReWriting Life Podcast, where we highlight an episode from our backlist that will bring you insights and inspiration for growing your self-publishing business. I'm your host, Tara Kremen, Director of Kobo Writing Life. This week, I've picked an episode with Dale Mayer. Dale is such an incredibly prolific author and has continued to be so even since this episode was recorded in 2019. Every time I talk to her, I ask what her daily word count is, and it's always on the rise. She's definitely now writing more than 9,000 words a day, which is just incredible. Hope you enjoy learning more about how Dale writes so many words. It's so many. It's great.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Kobo Writing Life Podcast. I'm Stephanie, and today Joni is joining me.
Hi, everyone.
And on today's episode, we're sitting down with USA Today bestselling author Dale Mayer, who I think is safe to say is a superstar. Joni, do you agree with me?
She is absolutely a superstar. She writes across multiple genres. She has 29 releases coming out in 2019, which is unbelievable.
I don't know. No words to describe.
No. She dictates all her books, which I thought was really interesting.
I thought listening to music and writing was a most common thing, but Dale actually has a technique for her writing that I have never heard of before.
Oh, and we spoke to her at 10:30 a.m. and she had written 9,500 words.
So
what are you doing with your life, Steph?
Literally nothing. We have a lot to cover.
We have a lot to catch up on.
So yeah, we hope you enjoy this interview. I learned a lot. I'm sure Joni did as well. So we hope you like it. Please keep listening. Thank you so much, Dale, for coming on the Kobo Writing Life podcast today.
Thank you. It's an honor.
And just before we begin, can you tell our listeners a bit about you?
It's a little confusing because I'm an unusual author in that I write in multiple genres, and I have been writing professionally for about 10 years full time. And what determines what I write is whatever comes up in my muse. I don't write for the fans as much as I write the stories that are in my head. And that's just peace of mind to get it down on paper. One of my thriller series I actually wrote because it was my nightmares. I put them down on paper and I shared them with the world. You're welcome, by the way.
Keeps it interesting.
That's right. Yeah, I did not follow the normal curve of what traditional authors would have done and what now with the self-publishing world, new authors are doing. I kind of fit in between both of those. I didn't really take a traditional path. So I'm unique.
And do you only self-publish, or are you a hybrid author? Do you traditionally?
I'm not a hybrid at this point. I used to work for Atlantic Publishing, and I wrote a lot of nonfiction. I'm published in books on the U.S. mortgage system. Yeah, go figure. I'm Canadian. Companion gardening and professional business writing. So those are all books that are published that I did while I was trying to hone my craft as a fiction author. But at this point in time, I am just self-publishing.
And what drew you to self-publishing originally?
I think just the fact that it gave me the control to do what I wanted to do. I came fourth in a big contest way back when, Romantic Times in Kensington. Brava contest, maybe. And one of the things when I was bumped off, I came to fourth. An agent had the book that was in the contest. It was a real eye-opener because part of this, it's a thriller. It's my flagship book, actually. They wanted me to cut out a character because the character had too much real estate in the book. And she said, this is romantic suspense. You can't have this character offering lighter moments. And I completely disagreed with her. And I chose at that point in time to just self-publish that book, which had been in the contest, in the wave of all of the advertising and the promotion that had gone with the contest. And I've never looked back because I still think today she's wrong.
Did that character get its own book?
She did not.
Her
character's name is Maisie, and she was running bookings on everybody in the old folks' home's love life. So she was taking bets, and it was a light relief, but she was the mother of the detective. And so she played a very important part in that book, and the agent just wanted me to cut all of her scenes out. And I was like, that's very difficult for me to do. I could write you another book without somebody like that, but that wasn't of interest. So I was like, fine, we'll just start down this path and see how far we go. And honestly, I started selling 20 books a day, and I didn't stop. I just carried on down that highway that opened up in front of me. So I think that's been, I don't even know what year that Brava contest was. Quite a few, 7 maybe?
Awesome. So the self-publishing world is constantly changing and evolving. Do you have any tips for someone starting out or even a veteran in the industry, something you've learned that you think everyone should?
I think one of the biggest problems is people look at those of us with success and they think they're going to get that same success. And that's a real problem. People don't see the number of years that I've been working. They only see where I'm at. They don't see the years that I worked and wrote before I even self-published the very first book. Whereas a lot of people come into the industry, they're like, I can make money. Everybody and their dog. I mean, I've got my kids' friends. Oh, I'm a writer. I published a book. And I'm like, okay, good. Keep going. Because they still think it's going to be an overnight success. They happen, but chances are it's a 10-year long, very arduous journey. And people aren't prepared for that. Even traditional publishing authors, they had success, sometimes not a great deal of success, but they had a certain amount of success in the traditional publishing world. And when they switch over to the indie world, it's completely different. They are responsible for all their own marketing, their own editing, the cover designs, their blurbs, everything. Whereas before they could hand that off. They just wrote. And now it's like self-publishing isn't being an author as much as it's being a business person now.
How do you manage the business side of things, the marketing and everything else that goes along with it?
Thankfully, at this point in time, I have help. But for up until about 18 months ago, I did it all myself. And I would try to write in close confines, time frames, get my words out for the day. One of the things that I do for myself is I set a certain number of word count or a time frame that I write. Start to finish, I get my words down. Then everything else happens. But my words come first. But then you have Facebook, I ended up incorporating about 18 months ago. And that was one big step that I needed to take. But that then meant bookkeeping and accountants and lawyers. And it just opened up a whole different world of business that I wasn't really prepared for. But once I had made that step, then it gave me a chance to step back and look at my industry and realize I needed more help. So I have somebody who has people, which kind of like I have people and she has minions. and it works. I actually have, my daughter's going to be helping this summer as well. My son has helped in the past. He did a lot of my covers. For years, he did my covers. So it's kind of been a bit of a family, like, hey, I'm in trouble. I need all hands on deck. And, we all kind of dive in. But the marketing is a constant, everyday type of thing. And in order to do that, you need help. And when you get to my size, at least you need help. If you're not that big, it's not that big a deal. You just keep pushing forward a little bit and a little bit.
Yeah, I remember speaking to you earlier this year and you were telling me how many books you were releasing. And what are you, 16, 17 books this year?
Yeah, that went way up. 29.
What?
We talked to Carrie and Ryan and she was like 18. I'm like, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
And now it's 29. Whew.
Yeah, it's 29. But, this morning, I don't know if you can see this. This is gold. This is a Olympus, simple little $50, maybe $40 recorder. I have 4 or 5 of them. I have already put 9,500 words on this morning.
Jeez.
Wow.
So that's what I mean, though. It is, in my corner of the world, it's 10:30 in the morning, and I've already done that many words. I will do another half hour on a separate book later today, but when the interview is done, I will go and deal with paperwork for, Canada Arts Council, Canada mandatory deposits. I have to go into, Zilla, and do an FTP transfer for all the digital for the same thing. I mean, there's all of this business stuff that have to be done. And so I get my writing done first thing in the morning, and then I go and do all of this. I've already hit Facebook a couple of times because yesterday, yay me, I hit the USA Today again with a brand new series, Ethan, which
Congratulations.
Thank you. So Facebook kind of exploded yesterday. But I go in and I answer everyone. That's the thing. It takes time, but it's a personal connection with all of the readers that read my books. So it's something I do take the time, and I do. But then I get off because I can't work with all that up there. One of the things that I do is after I have because I obviously record, I get a transcript back. And I usually, at this point in time, I will give it to an editor who'll clean it up. Because when I get going and I speak so fast, like that 9,500 is 1 hour. It's literally 60 minutes. And I stop at 60 minutes. So that's how many words I'm getting out in that time frame. So I will often miss, close quotes or comma or he said period, or in my head it's a period, but it really should be a comma because I'm carrying on that same thought. And I'll get some mistakes in all of that. And I'll give somebody, a friend of mine, she takes it, she cleans it up. Sorry, we have a very large puppy here trying to sit.
No.
Hi, buddies. So when I get it back from her, I print it. And then I'm not working on the computer anymore, right? off the computer. I'm not distracted by all of the rest of that. And I take a red pen to my own work. And it seems to be something that works for me quite well.
Did you always dictate your novels, or is that something you incorporated later?
I only started dictating about 1.5 years ago, and I could not make it work. When I was typing before, and the reason I switched to dictating was because I was starting to get sore fingers. I was doing 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 words a day, typing them. And I just thought, this is stupid. This isn't working. So I tried dictation. I couldn't make it work. And I went back to typing, and a friend of mine had this really long headset, and she just walked and made it more appealing because I wasn't just sitting again. So I tried it again, and she insisted that I just keep pushing through. Just forget the garbage that's coming out. Just keep putting it out. And I'm like, it's garbage. It's wasting my time. And she's like, you'll get through it. And then there was this kind of like click. And even though I still make a lot of grammar and dictation mistakes, it just started to pour. So where it used to pour through my fingertips, now it pours through my mouth. And I'm fine. I do every day about 12 to 13,000 words.
It's amazing.
And that's why the production, right?
Yeah.
It's the only way I can do it.
Do you have any tips for someone who's a little lenient about trying this, or any ways that you're like, this is really right for you?
It's not necessarily for everyone. The reason I really like a recorder is because I can get up and I walk. So when I'm doing action scenes, I walk fast. And sometimes my kids will be like, yeah, mom's out there dictating because I'm going away. But it's personal, private backspace. So who cares, right? Yeah. When I'm doing other scenes, more intimate scenes, I try to make sure that I'm completely alone. Yeah. And I don't have anybody eavesdropping because that can be very embarrassing. And it works for me now. And I think for anybody, and I've gotten a lot of people onto it. Seriously, I've gotten at least 10 people I know switch from typing to the dictating. They've all been very, very grateful at the end of the day. But that transfer isn't for everybody. Yeah. I used Dragon Easy Speaking for a long time, but that was slowing me down because by the time I would get the recorder and it would start to, kick back those words, I'd be sitting there with my laptop going, I need a second laptop, one just for Dragon to do all of this and one so that I can continue to work. And then I'd spend all the time cleaning it up. And it was a waste of time. So now I have a really good transcriptionist. She's really cheap, and she kicks it back every 2 days.
Awesome.
Yeah. So she does it manually.
She's actually a programmer, and I've never asked her, and I don't really care if she's making money off of it. I hope for her sake she's not typing it all manually, but I suspect she types as it comes out and cleans and, kind of a half and half thing. I think her program does a lot of it, and then she has to listen and go over it.
I think from what we've been hearing from authors, we're going to see more and more.
And a lot of people have been telling us that that's what they've tried now and they're really loving it. So
yeah, I think it's really a wave of the future.
Yeah.
I think it's the smartest move that you've made as a business owner. Do you have any regrets throughout your publishing career?
There's been a lot of hiccups. I should have incorporated earlier. I listened to the wrong accountant, and that cost me big time. I should have started probably indie publishing a little earlier. I was waiting for the contest, and then I waited another 6 months for that agent, and I should have just gone from the contest to indie publishing. But there's always that in the back of your mind, this is it, I can make this happen. So that was one of the things. The other thing was in 2014 when KU started, everybody had a bit of a problem, and I actually had a lot of housing issues at the time. We moved, the house was a mess. I spent 6 months renovating. My sales dropped because I couldn't give my business my attention. And then when I refocused, it took me, I'd say about 4 months to come up with a game plan to regain my market position. But I didn't do it blindly. I went and interviewed probably, at least 6, if not 7 friends that were doing fine. And the thing that got me, everybody was doing fine for their own reason. There was not one thread between them all that said, Dale, do this and you can fix this. Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of the lessons was you have to do you and you have to follow through on you. You can't copy. You can't find somebody else who's a big success story and think that you can imitate them and you're going to be the same success. And I think that's a hard lesson for a lot of people. One of the good things that I feel I do, but I know everybody else in the industry would probably say I'm completely wrong. When you start writing, they always tell you to read and research your genres. And I agree with that. But then I think there's a point in time when you have to stop because you assimilate other people's ideas and it becomes incorporated into your work and everything starts to sound the same. And I think that's a huge problem. Mm-hmm. Whereas I no longer read the genres I write. And that's sad for me because I'm a huge reader and those were my favorite genres. But I'm always concerned that I will take in little bits and pieces of other people's ideas. This way, it's mine. Mm-hmm. I don't have anything knocking on my head saying, oh, you could do this like so-and-so did. It's just straight my ideas. And I think that's what keeps my work unique. And then, I still have 2 huge favorite authors that I read everything they put out, but I'm not really writing in their stuff. So
who are your favorite authors?
J.D. Robb and Jane Ann Kranz.
They also have lots of books.
They also have lots of books. They're also very prolific authors. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But J.D. Robb is, it would be almost impossible to do something like that. You'd have to do something different, but like it, but you don't want it to be close to what she has. That's the thing. You'll get cut by the entire world over it.
Yeah. People notice now. I mean, I don't know. We talked about copy paste. Chris, have you heard of that?
Where people are, I don't know if it's the same idea, but I did hear about one woman that wrote a book, sold it to 15 people. They then changed out the names and addresses. They put up 5 different variations of exactly the same book. Wow. And then they did it again. And they sold it to other people who were doing the same thing. So I'm not sure if that's what you mean by copy and paste, but this is a find and replace. And they just take out the name, take out the location, and boom, it's 30 more books. And they all look the same. And that's why.
Copy paste Chris was an author, had literally taken from like 30 different authors and they mashed together a like monster Frankenstein book. Yeah.
And she felt there was nothing wrong with that.
I feel like people don't understand what copyright is.
No, I've got another friend right now who sent an author, a lawyer, a legal form explaining how many different instances of identical paragraphs she'd taken from this friend's book. And she just got a response back from a lawyer for this other woman saying, but there's 422 instances that are unique. We're like, it doesn't matter. How many instances are unique? Stole from her book. And I think that's what we're up against now. But once I heard about this group, a very large group where one person writes one book.
That's mind-boggling to me.
But you end up with 50 books with basically the same story. And they're all making money, so they do it again and again and again.
That can't be sustainable. There must be readers out there who've bought the same book twice, surely.
You would think so. But a lot of them, I hate to say it, are KU. So they just don't worry about it, right? They buy it, they read it, it's free, who cares? Oh, this one's garbage, they go back and get more, right? But it is a big scam that's happening out there. I don't understand, and this, isn't necessarily, I think it's part of the industry. I don't understand if the universities can have plagiarism checkers. Why vendors?
University. We also have a plagiarism checker on our store. It depends on the kind of plagiarism that someone's doing, but we do have some systems in place. But universities have it. Why don't?
Exactly. I mean, that would take all of these, for example, that one book, I think there was mention of 56 versions of it. Well, it's 55, 56 that shouldn't be out there, right?
Like, there must be an easier scam than writing a whole book and then copying and pasting and marketing and cover design,
You'd think so, except that because it's KU and they read it, they also put in these, a lot of different hooks to get you to the back of the book so the pages are read. I mean, it's a known problem and it's a pain and it's something that we have to just keep pushing forward. I think, how many books were published on Amazon last year? 1 million? How many are published on your site last year?
Like over 1 million, probably.
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But think about any new author coming on board today. They have to battle that 1 million books.
Yeah.
And it's difficult.
Yeah, our catalog's over 1 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, a lot of that catalog, and I don't know the figures, but I imagine at least 80% are somewhere down at the bottom of the sales.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then you're going to get a really steep curve of those that are doing well versus that 80%. And you don't want to say that they're bad books. It could be first books, but everybody writes the first book and publishes them. Whereas 10 years ago, we would write 2, 3, and 4. And then you'd start the contest rounds and you'd like, okay, how's this book? How am I doing? And then by the time you got to maybe book 5, you think about, sending it out to agents. Now we write a book and boom, it's up.
Nobody even push against that. Like, is it that you have a big reader base already? How do you stand out among the thousands and millions?
By now, I think it's the fact that I do have a strong reader base, but I also think the books are decent. So I hook a reader and I keep them coming back. That's really, really important. If you're writing standalone books, it's much harder because you don't have another book for them to feed into. Mm-hmm. I think it's really all about learning your own style. They talk about having your voice. Well, there is a voice that every author has, but I find that voice changes depending on the genre. I mean, I've now started a cozy series. Well, that cozy series has animals that really take over the book. But that voice that I use in there is very different than the military voice. It's still me, and anybody who knows me still recognizes the same kind of a story, the same action, the same character type of development. But a lot of people who read the cozies have no idea I write the other stuff. And one of the reasons for the cozies was to get a more general audience, because military romance is a niche. Like a lot of fads, like vampires and werewolves, it'll come and it will, at one point in time, it will go. And so you want to make sure that you have something for everybody else to continue to read.
So do you feel that you have separate groups of readers for separate genres? They don't cross over?
I do. I have some really, really hardcore vampire readers, and they're really, really resistant to anything else.
I love that.
It's, the vampire world is the vampire world. And I haven't written to that series, but I still get emails now, even 2 years later, saying, when are you going to pick up the character group and write more books? And it's like, I don't know when I'm going to. It's not on my docket right now. I mean, my schedule right now is already worked out to June of 2021. That's how far in advance I have my work stretched. I know what I have to write for what release. Obviously, I can only do a pre-order up for a year in advance, and I haven't done 2020, but it's, we're already just dealing on covers right now for a brand new series that's coming in January. So I need covers before I do pre-orders. So it's a business, right? You have all of these little things that have to be done.
I'm just curious, probably a dozy question, but so you have stuff planned in advance. Do you count a book as ready and planned once it's finished, or once you're like, I have this idea, it's going to be ready? How does the timeline work?
To me, once I have it down on paper, then it gets shot into that editorial cycle, and I will put a check saying written. But then every one of those has a stage, and I will not count it until it's actually down on paper. In a pinch, if I have to, I can pull in editors and say, we need to do this and we need to do it now. And then it's hard and it's ugly and takes a bit. And then the proofreaders have to go over it to find all the stuff that I messed up on when I'm correcting multiple authors, right? My problem with writing is I get inconsistent. When I start a book, his name could be Bob. When I'm done the book, his name could be Bouchard. And I'm just no clue how I go from one to the other, but it happens. And so they all know it, and they all look for things like that. Okay. The dog's name will be Rover, and then at the end of the day, he'll be Goliath or something. I mean, I don't know why, but I take a brain fart with names all the time, and it's a weakness, right? But I don't count a book actually done until I got that first draft. And then I still need 6 weeks to get through a cycle, sometimes longer than that. But I am currently writing the very last thing for 2019.
Awesome.
Which makes me feel a lot better.
Almost there.
It's almost an 8-month lead time, right? I mean, I'm almost there.
Pretty good. How do you factor balance into your life, being so busy and having such an intense release schedule?
I think my kids would say I don't have balance. I think that's one of the things that they're constantly saying, Mom, stop working. And my argument to that is, my work is my fun. While you're sitting there gaming and you're having fun, you really don't care if Mom is here or not. So Mom is here, but she's working. And I could be redlining. I don't dictate at all on weekends. And I try to avoid business on weekends. But I will often take a book that I have printed out, and I'll do a chapter in the evening while we sit and talk, or we're doing, watching TV, or, the kids get into board games or computer games, and I'll sit on the side. I'm there. We talk at the same time, but I can keep going on the chapters. Some of these books are 3 and 4. Well, I think the biggest thing is stress for any author right now. Balance is part of that, but stress is huge now because there's always that push to get out more. And I'm part of the problem. I will admit that, because I produce so much. There's a lot of people who, one, don't believe it's my work. And we do get, my manager gets a lot of inquiries about, Dale is obviously buying book packages. Will you tell me where she gets them?
What?
And that's like the hardcore insult, right? It's like, no, these are all my books. And they don't want to believe that, because then they have to look at their own habits, their own system, and realize it's not going to produce the same results. It can produce the same results, but it takes time. You have to work into it. An Olympiad isn't an Olympiad athlete right off the bat. Mm-hmm. You have to work your way into it. So, but we do get inquiries probably once a month as to what book packaging service I'm using. And I'm like,
geez.
So there's pressure, there's stress, I need to be as good as, I need to produce as much as, or just even the KU has put a huge stress on authors, because now we have a divided market. Mm-hmm. We have those in and those out. And, there's a lot of authors that cross that bridge. I haven't yet. Can't be bothered. I have so many fans that if they find out I put something in KU, I'd be getting unbelievable hate mail. I don't need that. You know? So it's an interesting state for people right now, but there's always that feeling of, and I think KU is part of that. There's a limited amount of money and there's a limited readership. So they fight for their share of it. And I think that just adds to the stress.
Yeah. No one needs that.
Nope. I have enough stress in my life because I do it myself, But obviously I thrive on it. I mean, I didn't have to write, 9,500 words this morning, but I did.
That's incredible to me.
Yeah. So you've had 29 releases this year?
I believe so. Yeah. We're debating the 30th, but 29 are locked in.
So how do you just manage marketing for each book in the year? Do you have I'm only going to talk about this book for a certain time period, or how do you incorporate?
We try to do a long distance type of a thing, like on the website right now. I've been working on the website a lot lately. So we're getting graphics that say new in 2019, and then it'll be like a series shot for this series. And then I have 3 new series this year. So there's 3 of them that we need the graphics for. Let people know that those are new this year. And that's like an overview type thing. We market every month up to the release date. So we do a countdown, 10-day, 9-day, 8-day, whatever. And always in the website and on a newsletter, because I do the newsletters. I try not to do them weekly. I think that's too much. I get kind of I'll just hit the delete button myself on newsletters. I try to do them the week of a release. And if I have a special BookBub deal that I think everybody would like, then I'll send out a short note saying, hey, this is on sale. Grab a copy while you can. But on the bottom of my newsletter, I always have what's coming so they can see 3 books in advance of what's coming. Because I have, for example, the book that was in the contest, Tuesday's Child, is book 1 of the Psychic Vision series. I only produce 2 of those a year. Now, these are 100 to 110,000 word, very twisted psychic serial killer kind of thrillers. And so I produce one every January and every July. The readers know it, and that's when they come. Don't bother asking for more. There aren't more. This is when you get them.
Yeah.
And that system has worked really well. And leaving them with 3 in advance has helped a lot. But it's a constant, hey, this is out there. It's not a system for everybody because you have to be on top of the Facebook stuff, the ads, you have to be on top of the newsletters all the time. But I am trying, as some of the SEALs series, I'm not going to say wane because there are over 20 books already, but you need new product. But new product takes time to catch on. So you have to actually keep the old, bring in the new, and then you have doubled up releases all the time until the new can take over the sales figures of the old. So there is a lot of business thinking behind it.
Yeah, it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Between social media and newsletter and anything else you do, what's your number one way of engaging with readers? What do you find most helpful?
It's usually Facebook, just because they're very reach-outable. A lot of them message me, a lot of them contact me just, on posts and whatnot. I do try to answer them. My newsletter is usually short. It's more informative. It'll have a blurb. It'll have the links. It'll have the next book's coming. And it doesn't generally give too much way to interact. A lot of people respond to them. So every time a newsletter goes out, I will get 3 dozen emails back again. And I respond to every one of them, which is where more time frame comes in. And that'll be something I often do in the evening when people are doing stuff. I'll just sit there and respond to. I have a folder, fans to answer, and they all go in there. Get it out of my inbox because otherwise that just gets crazy. The other thing right now that I'm doing that's really added to the workload, but not really, is audiobooks. I did audiobooks before, didn't have, as a Canadian, it was almost impossible to hook up with ACX in there originally. So I went with another company. I sold a bunch to ACX. Nothing ever really took off. So I just kind of backed off and didn't do them for a long time. But I have now partnered with Findaway Voices. And that's been an interesting but hugely successful partnership. We're doing 60 this year alone. They're all going to start coming out in big jumps in May, June. I got a schedule from him the other day, and I'm like, yeah, that looks good. Check. So that will change things as well, because I do get a lot of requests for audiobooks. And yes, the vampires, they all want the audiobooks.
They'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah, they'll be thrilled.
So I noticed on your website, you have a tagline like a great read each and every time. How do you ensure a title is a great read every time? What's your sort of checkpoints that you're like, yes? Well,
there's got to be a grace point. There's got to be a point where everybody either feels that heart hit in some way. With the dog stories, that dog has to catch you in one way or another. If it's a romance, there's got to be something in that relationship that you just kind of it's almost like a physical jerk where it hits you and you're like, oh, there has to be something like that in every read. Characters, pacing. I write really fast page turners. I write them fast. And I always wondered if that was why they were fast reads. But I do get that all the time. People are like, yeah, I'm sitting down with a cup of coffee and Dale Meyer for the evening, and they'll be done. They won't go to bed until they're done. And they're just really fast page turners. And I think that's really important because that's part of what they expect from me. When I say a great read each and every time, that was to help people understand that just because I write military doesn't mean I don't write cozies, and I write vampires, and I write, YA. I've got a lot of YA books. I write everything that appeals. What I haven't written yet, don't think I will, is historical. Because the details, if I can't get a character's name from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, those details are going to be completely lost. There's no way. Historical is full of accuracy, and that would just drive me batty. Just batty. So I haven't done historical. I do future, though, because that's fun. That's just world building. That's just straight, imagination, which is really fun.
Do you jump between genres within 1 year? How often, or do you go through a phase where you're writing?
Every day.
Oh, yeah, really?
Oh, yeah. So what I wrote this morning was a cozy. And this afternoon, I'm actually writing a novella for my Seals of my Heroes for Hire series. And the reason for the novella is to launch into a Black Ops series that's coming in January. So, I've just gone from laughable mystery to deep and dark and action. But tomorrow it could be, I will continue on these two books until they're done, which will be next Friday. Both of them will be done. And then I'm heading into that new Black Ops series. But, there's a thriller series that's sitting in the back of my mind. And my manager's like, whoa, no more books. I don't listen to her. I listen to the muse. And so if it says this book needs to come out, I will dedicate a 10-day period and I will really focus. And the next thing you know, there's going to be this crazy assassin book. And who knows what it is.
Do you do a lot of research for things like your military series? Do you dig quite deep into how, or do you have?
I did originally. It depends. I have active seals and then I have non-active seals, right? So the active seals have to fit active military life, and then the non-active no longer have to worry about that issue, right? You have whatever background references that you're using do need to be accurate, but most people are just happy to have a good story. They aren't going to call you out on details like that. Now, the cozy series, that's a whole different story because it's gardeners. And gardeners, when I started writing the series, and I realized each book only takes place in a week, which I don't know why I would have done something like that. That's mental. And I placed it in my own hometown, but then I realized that the plants had to match the time of year.
Oh, wow.
And so when I'm doing things like, Dagger and the dahlias, it's like, well, hang on a minute. We can't actually have dahlia plants out because that's in May. Dahlias don't come out until July, August. And you can bet that a lot of the gardeners are like, oh, we love this. We're just getting such an insight into Kelowna's weather and seasons and garden patterns. And I'm like, yeah.
That wasn't intentional.
You don't really think of it, but the readers are thinking of it.
Yeah. Since you cross multiple genres, do you have any writing advice that you stick to, or something that was told to you that you're like, more people should know about?
Somebody famous, God only knows who, if I can't remember the name of my own book, I'm never going to remember this, said that if there's a book out there that you really want to read and it's not available, you have... It was a funny phrase at the end. He says, you're obligated to write that book. And I think that's what happened is I got really tired of all the other authors and I couldn't find a good book anymore. And I just started writing in multiple genres because I wanted a good book. And so for me, it's funny, but when I want to read, I actually write because I'm creating a good book. And I don't know, that's another thing that's really strange about me is I don't outline in any way, shape, or form. I have no clue until I turn this on and I dive into that story. So it's like reading because I don't know what happens on the next page either. Wow. And I think that's what keeps my stories fun.
Yeah.
Keeps me working.
Yeah. Is there anything you have been reading or watching or listening to lately that you like?
Oh, it's funny. I think because I'm watching writing cozies now, I've started into British detective. I think they're funny. Old, like Midsummer Night's series, Father Brown, those kind of things. To me, those are cozies.
Yeah.
They're clean, they're funny, they're these little encapsulated mysteries, and I think they're hilarious. So often I'll be redlining and I'll have something like that on the TV, and my kids are like, really? Yes. But I love fantasy. So things like, what's the Galaxy one? My daughter would be like, Mom, did you really just say that? Galaxy, I don't know, what the hell is that?
Doctor Who?
Oh, I love that one. That one's really good.
Okay. Or Game of Thrones? Is that fantasy?
With the tree guy. Kara, what's the movies with the tree guy that dies and then they bring up as a sprout the next time? Spoilers. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
I love things like that. And so often when I'm dictating, I will actually put something like that on with no sound.
Oh.
And then I will dictate because it's full of action. So I can just keep moving at a really fast pace.
That is
a favorite, an absolute favorite that drives my daughter crazy. She's seen this movie on my screen I guess I went through cycles, but probably every day for about 4 weeks. Moana.
So you play the same movie while you're writing the same book?
Yeah.
Wow. This is like totally different from do you listen to music? I watch movies.
Exactly. But I know that they're action. I know the story. They're good stories that make me happy, and I can just dictate. Now, if I'm outside, that's a different story because I'm, moving and I'm busy. But if it's an ugly day or I'm tired, I just put on a movie. Or if I can't get into my story because, you know what it's like. You get into work and there's 47 emails and 2 of them say your books are crap. And you're just like, I don't really want this today. Thank you very much. Or you go on to, something and you find out that, business stuff was supposed to happen and got canceled. And there's been all kinds of, you run a business, crap happens, right? And I'll put on a movie I really, really like, but I'll shut off the sound and I'll dictate.
I'm never even thought to put on a movie.
See, like I said, I'm fairly unique. I don't really do things the way other people do things because I don't worry about it. I do what works for me. You need to take your own way and follow it.
So our final question, since there's a lot of releases happening for you this year, but what can readers expect from you next?
That's funny. 3 weeks are never cozy. We have the next K9 is in 8 weeks. We have a hero and an honor in 6 weeks, 10 weeks. I think we're up to July by then. And I think that is then a Psychic Vision, which is Deep Beneath. Brand new series next year, 2 of them. Oh, and I have a contemporary series coming in July. That's right. And this is a very different genre for me. I started writing it a few years ago and I didn't know what to do with it. It was so different from everything I write. It's a wholesome, no sex healing book of people with very difficult time periods, but rising up and above it. And that's coming in July. And there's 7 books written in that series. That's probably as much as we're going to go. And they're coming in, I think, July, 3 of them, and then 1 a month until all the books are done. So that is coming too in July. And it's funny because I've had a lot of people read them and they're just like, this is so not you. And I'm like, okay, so if the name's not there, what do you think of the book? And they're like, we love them. And I'm like, okay, so then I'm happy to put my name because I made it. It's still part of everything you create has a piece of you. So it may not do very well, but that's okay. They're not going to do anything on my computer. So they might as well go out. Yeah. Whatever.
We'll put links to all those books on our
we got a lot to link.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's great. Your readers are probably thrilled.
Sounds like there's something for everyone.
Yeah, there is something for everyone. And that's why the cozies have hit the right chord, which has been really, really interesting watching how people have really fallen in love with those characters. And it's funny because I got the next one, Evidence in the Echinacea is the one coming next month. And I got it back from the line editor and she had an email like this. And she's like, oh my gosh, after going through all of this, she said, I've gone and I cleaned up my kitchen cupboards. Doreen did this. I went over here and I did this as well. It feels so good to get all this done. I'm like, you see, we're just people. But you follow Doreen's life. But it's not a rags to riches. It's not a story of somebody becoming a millionaire. It's a millionaire who lost everything and becoming completely broke. So it reverses that and everybody can relate. If you don't know how to make coffee because you've never seen a coffee maker in your life, well, you can sit there and laugh at them because they're stupider than you.
Yeah, that sounds entertaining.
Love that.
It's fun. It's really fun.
All right. Thank you so much, Jill.
You're more than welcome. It's been fun, ladies.
Thank you for listening to the Kobo ReWriting Life podcast. If you're enjoying this podcast, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. And follow us on socials. We're really fun. We're at Kobo Writing Life on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. This episode was hosted by Stephanie McGrath and Joni DePlacido, with production by Terrence Abrahams. Editing is provided by Kelly Robotham, and our theme music is composed by Tearjerker. If you're ready to start your publishing journey, sign up today at kobo.com/writinglife. Until next time, happy writing.